Hey, my name is Anna Bennett. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and I love what I do as a Pinterest marketer. And here I am. Welcome to social media marketing.
How has Pinterest marketing evolved over the years, and what are some of the misconceptions about Pinterest?
Okay, so March 2010 was Pinterest was born. At that time, you could only really join if you got an invitation from a friend, right? As you know that. And I think in the beginning, we really didn't know what Pinterest was going to be all about. It seemed to be catering to the Midwest moms doing their DIY crafts and all of that. And it has absolutely evolved into really a business marketing tool, right?
Absolutely.
That's really where it's evolved to. But the main focus really has not been about, it's not really a typical social media network, even if it gets into the mix. So that's the misconception, is that even if Pinterest seems to be included in the social media sort of world, it does function more like a search engine.
Right.
So in terms of evolving, it is a search engine. And now as by evidence, as you can see, that it has now moved into the social commerce space with Pinterest investing heavily on the visual search tool, because that's where they feel the future is going to be for shopping, right? We don't know what something's called. Snap a picture of that darn thing and then bam, Pinterest is going to show you where to buy it. I mean, how simple is that?
Why is Pinterest so often overlooked by businesses, and what are the ideal audiences that can be reached on the platform?
So Pinterest is overlooked by many businesses because it does get confusing. You know, you go on Pinterest, you see a bunch of images and videos, and you're not really sure, okay, what am I supposed to do with this, right? So businesses typically flock to where they think the people are going to be. But what they don't understand is that if you want to connect with people who are making improvements on their life to make it better, and in all areas of their life, because that's what Pinterest is. It's just helpful. It's all about helpfulness. So whether it's to lose weight, how to come up with your first baby shower, or, you know, how to cook a ketogenic freaking waffle.
Oh, that's
right?
a big one.
It doesn't have any gluten in it. Pinterest is the go-to place where people plan, where they shop, where they just want to make improvements in all parts of their life. So there's content there for every aspect of your life, you know, whatever you can think of. So in terms of your ideal audience, if you want to cater to the 25 to 54, which is the majority, that audience flock to Pinterest. And the biggest audience are the millennial moms. Now, that's really important because they're the decision makers of the household. They have the most influence. The biggest online consumers are really on Pinterest. That's who's driving the force. I mean,
how has the current landscape impacted Pinterest for business, and where do you see Pinterest going in the future?
It's actually, they've gotten even better. Like, traffic has been big. People will start to think more seriously about e-commerce, about doing business online. You know, even Pinterest now, they have come up with a lot of helpful content. Even on your phone, you can click on the Today. There's a Today tab, and it'll give you some inspiration how to deal with our current situation, you know, Black Lives Matter, things like that. And they're really raising awareness in that and really providing people tools. Businesses that are run by African Americans are going to get the attention that it deserves. And they're also being really savvy with how consumers think about shopping today. And they're making it easy just by snapping a picture. It can give you information without even having to type it. That's pretty phenomenal, right?
Absolutely. It sounds like it's a more positive environment, as you were saying. Like, there's a lot more positivity, a lot more self-help there. And I feel like self-care has become a lot of a movement. And so Pinterest really builds on that. What are some of the key mistakes you see businesses making on Pinterest?
One of the things that people ask me is like, oh, can you tell me about a company that you helped that's similar to ours? Well, you know, if I do that, I know what you're going to do, right? You're going to copy what they're doing. But guess what? Each company is unique. You have to find a way to uniquely position yourself as the go-to for whatever. You can't copy what someone else is doing, because you're not going to stand out, right? Sure, there's some tactics that we could all learn, but most new businesses are not going to be able to identify which tactic is working. Was it the image? Was it the keywords where they injected it? Was it the kind of content they produce at the right time?
Right.
There's so many things that you need to think about. So if I were a business, seriously, and I was just starting Pinterest, I would go work with someone who's already done what I want to do. So if I want my business to be on the first page of Google, find someone that has gotten themselves on the first page of Google. The other mistakes that people make is they really are using the wrong keywords. There's better keywords that you should be using, because that's what the language of the people on Pinterest are doing. That's their language, right? If it's a French website, but you're speaking Spanish, you're not going to connect. That's why you got to use the same language. Number 3 is content, not really creating and curating the type of content that their audience is going to gobble up. People just start pinning. They don't realize that your most valuable content that you should be pinning is really your content, because sharing other people's content is just basically saying, hey, we don't really have this content, but we think you'll find it helpful, so here it is. But that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you a visit to, there's no eyeball on your site. No one is going to know more about you. People don't sort of deep dive and say, oh, who pinned this? And your logo is so tiny, your face is like a dot. That's why you have to come up with relevant content that you can share. And you have to really share a certain amount. Otherwise, there's not even any point in doing it. If you can only pin one image a week, forget about Pinterest. I don't want you to do Pinterest. I want you to do something that you have a chance at winning. So when I look at businesses, I look at what they have, what their goals are, what their capacity is. You might have to outsource your images if you want to manage your own account, because nobody on your team really is qualified to do pretty images. You can outsource parts of your management to someone else that can do a better job than you. And to me, that's just smart business, because you can now focus on what you do best. And that's the way life should be anyway. Do what you do best. It's so much more fun.
How can the people watching this right now tell if Pinterest is a good fit for their business? So you mentioned if you only have time for one pin a week, probably not a good fit. Are there any other indicators?
Well, a really good indicator is the blog component. Those who have a blog are going to be more successful. You can take a piece of blog content, create multiple images, vary it up so it looks like it's fresh content. If you have one product image, that's one product image. You can't keep sharing that same image over and over, because if Pinterest has an algorithm. So those who are going to blog is going to have more success, but I believe that the blog part will help you get to the first page of Google, because blogs are SEO. It's rich in content. Remember, Pinterest and Google are best friends. But even with the visual search technology I was mentioning, the Pinterest images that were coming up on the Google was more from Pinterest, not the Google images. It's Pinterest images that Google Lens was picking up. Absolutely. So Pinterest has a lot of influence over images.
For a business just starting out, what are some of the key tips to having success, given that Pinterest is different from other platforms? It's
science, art, and business acumen. Science is the SEO part. You got to figure out those keywords. But you know what? Once you figure that out, like, it's done. You figured it out, right? It's not something you just now have to just populate those keywords, inject them where they should be injected. Okay, and then there's the art part, the images. You have to figure out what type of images are going to do well. Like in my course, I've identified at least 18 different type of images. So if you're in the food vertical and you're in the home decor, in the fashion, whatever it is, even blogs, there's certain types of images that will work better than others. If you know that ahead of time, then obviously you're going to focus on that, right?
Right.
So you need to know that. What is that recipe for the image? Once you figure it out, again, it's really easy. You just create templates. Not every single image has to be like original. You can do variations, right? And then the third is obviously business acumen. You have to think about your content. You have to think about ads. You have to think about paid ads. I'm sorry. Every business has to invest in ads because it's so competitive. We have to think about the competition, about who's being shown first. And again, you have to be strategic with ads. You know, so many people think about, oh, what should I write about? What should I blog about? All this stuff, right? People spend so much time to figuring that out. You'll be able to determine exactly what to write about and when to write it, because Pinterest users are also trend seekers. So they plan much ahead of time. I'd say 2 to 3 months before the general population.
Got it.
So if you're thinking Valentine's February, they're already thinking about that in December or earlier. So publishing your content ahead of time is important, because when you publish something on Pinterest, Pinterest is not going to pick it up right away because of the keywords. It's just like Google. If you published a blog post today, even if you typed in the exact title, it's not going to come up right away on Google. So you have to give it time to simmer.
Gotcha. Yeah. Those are all 100% great tips. Hopefully people out there are listening and taking notes. We want people to go and watch your training where you give the 5 keys to getting more traffic and sales. So just as a little teaser, can you share what a few of those keys are, or what a few, maybe your favorite keys from the presentation?
You need to know your keywords, right? Use the Pinterest language. You need to get your images right. They can't be your selfies. They can't be the same images that you're using on Instagram. It's just not going to work. There's certain types of images that you have to use for Pinterest, and the way you format it and the way you design it, okay? Because that's how Pinterest users look at it. That's how they consume the content. So you have to cater to how they behave. And number 3, you really need to have a blog, because I want as many people clicking on their image going to your website, going to your blog. That's how you get traffic from Pinterest, okay? A lot of bloggers will tell you, Maya, oh my gosh, my most traffic I'm getting is from Pinterest, and I'm not even working it, and I don't even know what I'm doing, and I'm getting this traffic. People go on website, they see a great content, the first thing they think about is they share it on their Pinterest account. That is really the mindset of the online user, right? Yeah. You're looking at something, oh, I like that top. Oh, I like that idea. I like that DIY, whatever that is, right? Oh, I like that course. I'm going to save it because there's a picture. Now I'm going to save it. I'm putting it to my board.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're really, people are able to really create this life that they've always dreamed about just by organizing them really on their Pinterest page. There's so much market intelligence for you to be able to figure out what types of products and services that people would want to gobble up on Pinterest. Hopefully it's the kind of stuff that you love too. Right?
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna. I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
I hope you were happy with the presentation.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was perfect. I'm so happy it's in our library. We don't talk about Pinterest enough. So I'm so glad to get some more Pinterest content out there in the world.